name's Clint Pickering. I'm the owner of Modern Drilling Company, and we're a local HDD contractor in Des Moines, Iowa.
I'm Dalton Meyer. I am a crew lead at Modern Drilling Company.
Hi, I'm Michael. I work for Modern Drilling. I operate the Ditch Witch and the Vermeer drills.
We own both a JT20 and a Vermeer 20x22, and we're out here today to share with members of HDD-contractor.com what we like and dislike about both of them. Primarily, we do fiber bores and power bores. We pull a lot of 2-inch fiber pipe. We pull a lot of single and double 4-inch power pipe, and we do up to 10-inch water bores. Our Vermeer 2022 we bought last year, and it has approximately 1,100 hours on it. The Ditch Witch we bought in February of this year, and it has approximately 300 hours on it. Both the drills have worked out really good so far. They both have things we like and a couple things we dislike about each of them. Yes, it was a huge day, the day I bought my first brand new drill. When I went out on my own, we went in, talked to the Vermeer sales reps I've known forever, and they helped guide us through the process. It showed up, and we got to go out and start drilling with it our very first day. It felt great to finally be out on my own, making my own decisions and guiding my own path to success, and having strong equipment behind me to do it. It was scary for the first couple months while we were waiting for accounts receivable to come in. We made it through year 1 strong, and we doubled in size year 2. This year, we bought a brand new JT20, and we've been running it now for about 4 months, and it's been a solid machine. We haven't had any breakdowns with it, and anything we've needed help with, their support's really great. The day we got the drill, Ditch Witch delivered it to us at our shop because it was still 0 degrees out. So they ran it through how to run it in our shop, and we let some of the guys practice in our shop on it. It was a good feeling knowing that people trusted us with the amount of work they do, and guys trust me leading them as much as they do, but it's still scary at times thinking about people rely on you that heavily to get their projects done. Going from 1 drill to 2 drills was scarier than just having 1 due to double the guys to manage and double the jobs to try to get done. I think the biggest difference most people would notice would be the single versus double joystick. Instead of your rotation and thrust being on 2 separate joysticks that just move one way, your rotation and thrust are on 1 joystick that moves 4 different directions. On a Ditch Witch drill, from an 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock position and 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock position moves it forward and backwards, and then when you're at a 3 or 9 o'clock position, it's your rotation. On a Vermeer drill, it's just forwards or backwards on your both joysticks is rotation and thrust. So we took someone from the Vermeer drill, put them on the Ditch Witch drill, and you're going from a double joystick to a single. So it's obviously way different.
My first impression is there's way too many electronics. On the controls, yeah, it took me a hot minute. It's definitely different from the Vermeer.
Yeah, there wasn't much learning curve once we had someone come out and just explain it to us.
I don't know if I could say that it's easier to learn on. Yes and no. Just yes, because you're only using 1 arm for the controls and then 1 arm just to break the rods. But at the same point, no, because if you just mess up once or the system gets out of sync, then you're thrown in a loop on where you're supposed to start. So I feel more engaged with the Vermeer because it's all you're doing. You're not relying on a system to do your job.
The Vermeer drill, a lot of the things we like about it are how few electric over hydraulic options there are on it, and it's pretty cut and dry on how it operates and functions. The rod loading systems on the Vermeers have way less moving parts compared to a Ditch Witch for things to go wrong and things to get pinched and out of sync. You're relying on an operator, not a computer. On a Vermeer, you load rods from the front row and work to the back row, and you can see everything you're doing as you load rods. It's all controlled by buttons and switches manually by a human. On a Ditch Witch, you load rods from the rear row to the front row, so you can't exactly see what's going on. It's in an automated fashion by the push of a button, which probably to most people is easier. I think it's just hard when you grow up on a Vermeer. It seems like it's harder even though it may be easier. Automated's definitely easier when it's working. The automated is definitely a headache when the drill gets out of sync with itself. Usually the issue is when you're drilling out or pulling back, you have to flip a switch and to tell the drill what you're doing, and guys naturally forget to do that. So it seems to happen a couple times a day and the guys get it straightened out very quickly. It's human error, yes.
I like the Ditch Witch because it's a lot quieter and it seems to have a lot more rotation power cutting through rock, gravel, brick.
It seems like it has a little more rotation power when you're pulling back reamers and bigger packages.
The rod seems to get pushed out a lot quicker, and then it also has like another gear. It like goes into like high speed to where you can yank it back, and I mean I think that's what's quicker about it, but I still think the Vermeer, you can out drill the Ditch Witch.
The Vermeer, if you get caught, like when you're rotating, it'll skyrocket your pressures and just deadlock you in. It could just be the bit I have on there too, but.
Spec'd out, I believe they both have relatively the same power, but Ditch Witch has an extra hydraulic motor, so you don't get either or with rotation and thrust. You have both maximum rotation and thrust while pulling back. You don't hear the engine bogging down when you've got a 14-inch reamer on pulling product, or even an 8-inch reamer. It just one fluid motion without the motor bogging up and down.
Talk to me more about that hydraulic motor. That sounds like it's important.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
Okay, if you don't know.
I just know they told me that. Size-wise, they're pretty equivalent. The Vermeer sits a little lower, so it's better on hills than the Ditch Witch, but I think the actual footprint of the Ditch Witch is a little smaller. The rod rack on the Ditch Witch sits up high compared to how the rod rack sits on a Vermeer. Just having the rod rack high shifts your center of gravity a lot higher, so if you're sitting at any kind of angle, it makes it a lot tippier. I've never tipped a drill yet. Maintenance-wise, the Ditch Witch seems to be a little easier because it has a lot less greasing points than the Vermeer drill does. So it's less for guys to remember in the morning when they're getting started every morning. We've had a few computer issues with the Vermeer on the strike alert system failing and the computer having to be replaced. The Ditch Witch we bought brand new, and the only repairs we've had with it are a few bolts rattled loose from the factory. We don't perform any of our own maintenance outside of starter rods and sub savers, so I don't really have a difference of the two. I mean, honestly, maintenance-wise, we just take our drills to either Ditch Witch of Minnesota, Iowa, or Vermeer of Iowa, Northern Missouri, and let them handle all the maintenance. Yeah, we really don't do any maintenance on them, though. We let them do everything. The other big noticeable difference is the Ditch Witch is about 10 times quieter than the Vermeer.
The Ditch Witch is a lot quieter.
On the Ditch Witch, I like that it's a lot quieter.
The drill being quiet makes it a lot easier to hear your surroundings, hear the motor, hear people around you, and overall just your sanity of not hearing an engine screaming all day in your ear.
When running a Ditch Witch, we can easily hear the locator come across the radios, whereas when you're running the Vermeer, you almost have to have a headset on. It's definitely a lot louder.
It makes it way easier to communicate on the radio. I would buy another Ditch Witch alone just on how quiet it is. The support from both our local dealers, being Vermeer, Northern Missouri and Iowa, and Ditch Witch of Iowa and Minnesota, has been great for service and maintenance on both of our drills. They've helped us with anything we've needed along the way, and we haven't lost any days of production with the help of them always keeping us going. I'd recommend either to anyone. I would recommend a Vermeer to anyone looking to get into the industry because they are a reliable drill, and I've had a ton of past success with them, and I'll have tons of future success with them if you can get your hands on them. My favorite thing about the Vermeer drill is the reliability I've always had with it over the last 10 years of running them, and the user friendliness of it. The functionality of the joysticks, the rod loading and unloading, and just how everything works on it all together. My least favorite thing about the Vermeer is how extremely noisy it is while you're operating it. I would chalk up liking Vermeer, one, due to they do make a really good product, and two, being it's what I've ran almost my entire career drilling. My favorite things about the new drill would be how quiet it is while running it at full throttle, how user-friendly it is with how we were able to take someone who had exclusively ran a Vermeer and got them to switch to a Ditch Witch within one day. Shows it's pretty easy to switch to and still get production on. My least favorite thing about the Ditch Witch is the rod loading system, and when it gets out of automation, it can be a struggle to get it back in at times. We bought the Ditch Witch this year, first one I've ever owned. It's been a really good rig for us. Production is equal between both of them, and they seem at times a little more available in this size of drill. If I had to buy another drill today, I would most likely get another Ditch Witch based on the performance is pretty much equal on both of them, and the availability when times were tough, Ditch Witch managed to come through and get us this drill, so I would have faith in them getting another one for us if times were tough. When everyone could supply us with one, you know, we could get a Vermeer, but when no one could supply us with one, Ditch Witch is who came through for us.
I would probably personally buy a Vermeer because I have fixed them, I have worked on them, I know them from the ground up. Like I've worked on the old Vermeer, and so I know how to fix that and what everything is that needs to be working, how to fix it, how to put it in its place and all that.
If I had to choose, I'd stay Vermeer. What I learned on, it's what I've become accustomed to. So I can operate both comfortably, but I would rather have the Vermeer.
No, I wouldn't say what drill is a deciding factor for me. I mean, like I said, the Ditch Witch, I figured that out within the first hour. It's just that automation that throws me off because I ran a manual machine for so long, so getting thrown the automatic, it throws me for a whole different loop.
I would definitely choose a company that had Vermeers over Ditch Witches.
So when we were looking to expand from 1 to 2 crews, originally we had a drill that we thought we had locked in with Vermeer, and allocations changed at Vermeer, and I called my buddy who works for Ditch Witch, and they managed to get us Ditch Witch drill on short notice and at a good price.